passed a couple of days ago, and we want to pay our own tribute to her on the show this morning, assess her contribution to the politics of Ghana, women development, etc. After that, we'll look at the growing tussle or the seeming tussle between the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The Office of the Special Prosecutor is dealing with a number of cases or investigation on a number of cases regarding Ken Ofori-Atta, former Finance Minister. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, former, has been invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor a number of times. He keeps changing the dates because he says he's not well. The last time he says he was going to come back to the country, hopefully by June or something. We are in October. And so there are processes, or there should be processes ordinarily, to extradite him to come face the charges in Ghana. That appears to be an issue. Office of the Special Prosecutor claims it is working on it. Attorney General says that Office of the Special Prosecutor is not forthcoming, delaying in transmitting the docket to the Attorney General. And indeed, by law, Attorney General is the body, or the Office of the Attorney General is the body to initiate or trigger the extradition processes. So the Attorney General says they have no docket to start the process with. Office of the Special Prosecutor says they've expanded the scope of the investigation because of a recent raid or investigation at the office of the SML, which is part of the cases Ken Ofori-Atta is wanted to answer or is being wanted for. So we do not even understand where the matters are, but the OSP insists that it's on track, it's following the processes as it were, and that they have spoken or written to the Chief of Staff. Chief of Staff transmitted to the Attorney General's office for the process to start. Has he been charged, and what will be the charges be? His lawyers insist that he's not well and that once he's well, he will come to Ghana. But can we wait? The sovereign people of Ghana want him, same as others, to come and answer charges or answer to the questions that the state or republic may have against him. What do you think? Should Ken Ofori-Atta be given some time to properly recover from his illness or ailment, so when he comes to Ghana, we know that we are dealing with a fully fit person? Or you think that no matter his circumstance, he should be brought to Ghana to face charges? Your views will be interesting to read. Let me provide some updates. Now, former First Lady of Ghana, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, has died at the Ridge Hospital, Accra, at the age of 76. The wife of the former President, Jerry John Rawlings, was Ghana's longest-serving First Lady, holding the position during both the AFRC and the PNDC eras from 79, again 81 to 93, and then also through the Democratic era to 2001. Tributes have been pouring in from across the country, describing her as a bold, visionary, and trailblazing leader who championed women's rights and national development. There is more in the following report.
A day after the passing of the former First Lady, the atmosphere at the Rawlings residence in Accra remained somber. Scores of mourners, including notable figures and members of the general public, visited to commiserate with the bereaved family. Among the dignitaries were former Presidents John Agyekum Kufuor and Nana Danquah Akufo-Addo, as well as the Chief of Staff Julius Debra and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Former President Kufuor described Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings as an integral part of Ghana's political history, recalling moments from his interactions with the Rawlings-led administration.
Ghana so assume Ghana crime be so far. Then we draw Ghana history or Barani Indonesia. Then life for any Ibiasa season. We are saying Obiaba, Obia the agenda neighbor, Yamimu Obia the gift. Who says Aquan is now who's in Yadu, but quite cheap, who do high in society. Audrey, in the making of our nation, Ghana, no, she acquitted herself.
Former President Akufo-Addo, visibly devastated, reflected on his personal friendship with the late former First Lady, describing her as a dear friend and strong personality.
Yes, is a Ghana in your bopo. Every try ho. I require between a zero. And I'm missing about it. Where Madame for?
National chairman of the governing NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who led the party's leadership to the residents, described her passing as a great loss, noting her instrumental role in the formation of the NDC.
Asem kesiye ma omai Ghana no nyina. NDC. Maame no e kan ho ne eti NDC ko no. Dum sa chire okote party foforo de. Ba history wo ho de. E hunu se o kan ho ne eti ko no pa. Enti party no ahwedade. Omai Ghana so Ubia Magana wabedi first lady 19 years. This is Mammy Konadu. Enti enonso asemo aba no atugana manina.
Minority leader Alexander Appiah, who joined Parliament's leadership delegation, also paid tribute to the Konadu's tireless advocacy for women's empowerment and her contribution to Ghana's affirmative action legislation.
Made the office of the First Lady a formidable office with her empowerment initiatives for women and girls. She played a lead role in the PNDC law that dealt with issues of interstate succession. In our constitution, she's profoundly known for her active role in getting the affirmative action provisions.
Meanwhile, the government's 3-day national mourning continues until Sunday, October 26, with all flags flying at half-mast nationwide and at Ghana's missions abroad.
All right, so that was a report on the former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who died earlier in the week at age 76. My guest for today's program, Nana E.J. Bafwewa, Member of Parliament for Menchia South. My good friend, Andrew Appiah Danquah, is a legal director of the UP. So now that's a new role, legal director.
Director legal. but you know, the UP is known to be a tradition of bold people.
Yeah, so they are bold to move from the MPP.
No, they haven't shown
when
it.
the party was in power. That's boldness.
Their leadership haven't shown it.
No, but to leave a party when the party is in power,
no, they are not.
That's boldness.
They know they are not. They know they are not. UP is a tradition of bold people, courageous men.
But that's what they've done.
That have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
You don't run away.
No, you don't. Did Nkrumah run away from UGCC? He didn't run away. But he was filled with conviction.
Nkrumah went away.
Yes.
Knowing very well that he would do very well.
No, but are you
the
in
choice
your
of
head, or are you God?
The butterfly.
Yes.
What is the lifespan of the butterfly?
No, they talk about transition. No, Charlie, you take me as your spokesperson.
Exactly. So there's
run away.
No, you see the reason why you should do politics ultimately should be the interest of the country.
Yes.
And you join a political party believing that that political party is there to advance the cause of the country. So where you are convinced that that political party's character has been altered to the extent that is now very parochial, generally, is now very parochial in nature.
I'm not busy continuing to be there.
Exactly.
Okay,
You understand? And in fact,
we just started the show. We are just introducing guests.
What my other friend is even saying even makes me more
convinced of the decision you took.
and the boldness. No, he was not bold because he said that Nkrumah took a step knowing that he was going to win. And that we are taking a step not believing that we are going to win. And
you chicken out.
And
Nkrumah didn't chicken out. You chicken out.
Nkrumah left the UGC.
You were in a race. You were in a race. You were in a race.
No, but a race,
they say.
No. You see, when we became convinced,
yeah,
you understand that they've altered their characters to the extent that we can't identify. And he's talking about the butterfly.
The butterfly.
He decided that, you see, when you are analyzing the butterfly, you should analyze the butterfly as a species. The individual butterfly has a lifespan of about 2 weeks, but the butterfly as a species, you see, will outlive the elephant.
So now you have become entomologists and zoologists.
Yeah, because you see, when you take an individual butterfly, then there's a problem with the analysis. You must take the butterfly as a species, and as a species, as things stand now,
you have become entomologists.
The elephant is endangered.
All right, so that's Nana J. Bapo, MP, Mensah South for MPP. Andrew Appiah Danquah, Director Legal for the UP. Nick Pako Samoado, member of the NDC legal team. Franklin Kujo, President in Mani Africa, and Senyo Hosi, convener of the One Ghana movement. This are my guests this morning. Gentlemen, even though you have spoken already, formally, let me greet you. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
All right, so this week we're hit by some bad news. Nana Agyeman-Rawlings, even though she's quite old, or she was quite old at age 76, of course, we always want our people to be with us, our best people to be with us. She has now gone to be with the Lord. She's passed. And indeed, that ends an era. Your thoughts generally on that? I'll start with you, Nana. Some of your colleagues were in the house. I don't know whether you were there, minority, to commiserate with the family and all of that. What will you say, or what are your fondest memories of Nana Agyeman-Rawlings and what she stood for?
Thank you for having me. Unfortunately, I couldn't go with my colleagues because a polling station executive of mine had lost her daughter. So I'd gone to Kumasi for the funeral, and my colleagues, at the time my colleagues went. And so unfortunately, I couldn't go. But it was a very unfortunate news, least expected. I had been informed by a colleague of mine that on Thursday he had been at a rich church for the burial service of Mrs. Ifa, wife of Mr. Ifa, mother of Mr. Ifa. When he saw Nana Konadu there, and so he least expected this to happen.
So she was really hearty moving around.
Exactly, and so we're all surprised that it had happened. But it's a reminder of our mortality, that whatever we are doing, one day will go, and will go when we don't know exactly the day, the time, the place where it is going to happen. It's a reminder that it is not about how long you live, but the impact you make. When you look at Nana Agyeman-Rawlings, by reason of her husband having been the longest serving president, you can also say that she was the longest serving first lady in the history of this country. Her impact, you would want to say, remain unmeasurable, particularly in the area of women empowerment. I don't think there is any first lady in the history of this country that has led, or there is any woman in the history of this country since Yasantua that has led women empowerment in the manner which Nana Agyeman-Rawlings did. In fact, if you even take it from the perspective of the role of First Lady, she modernized it and gave us the role as it has come to be known. In fact, in the history of this country, I again dare say that there hasn't been any First Lady who has been so impactful as Nana Konadu was. Take it from, I've mentioned women empowerment, take your girl child to school, if you recall. You know, Nana Konadu came to the scene at a time when the general notion was that education was for men and wasn't for women. And so it was, it was rare to see women taking keen interest in education, or men pushing their daughters to go to school, at the levels that we are seeing today. Nana Agyeman-Rawlings was very instrumental, if not, leading it, in making sure that female education became the norm and not the exception. When it comes to women empowerment, from the uneducated women to the educated women, we remember Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings leading empowerment of all the uneducated women by, equipping them with skills like the Gary making through her 31st December Women's Movement, providing daycare centers that would train women, the children of women who are at the market and so on and so on. She was quite innovative. Think about it. I mean, placing or positioning daycare centers in markets to take care of children
While the mothers sold
of mothers, to take care of children whilst the mothers sold on the market. I think that was quite innovative. At the time, I don't think we really, looked at it from that angle because of the politics, the political climate at the time. But on hindsight, you could tell the innovation. Beyond that, we also saw the introduction of the Intestate Succession Act, which she championed to ensure that women were not shortchanged in the distribution of the assets of their husbands. If I say I'm going to sit here and list all of them, perhaps this program might turn into a program all about Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We need to be candid, irrespective of our political differences. Her contribution has been very, very impactful. Yesterday, for me, was very symbolic. Seeing that the minority and the majority converged in the house of Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. I listened to General Asiedu Nketia, his speech about the country rallying together, uniting to give her a befitting burial. For me, was very, very symbolic. Seeing Nana Danquah Akufo-Addo, seeing President Kufuor there was historic. And I'll tell you why it's historic. Sometimes we forget our history. And that, for me, is one of the reasons why we are struggling as a nation. Because, you see, you can't move forward if you don't know where you are coming from. And so history is very fundamental in national development. And for those who, perhaps the millennials, or if you like the Gen Zs, they may not have witnessed what we saw in this country prior to 1992. All these characters were enemies. Political enemies, quote and unquote.
Yes, enemies.
Yes. But today, we can all come together under one roof. I mean, remember Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings famously saying that Nana Danquah Akufo-Addo was not a lawyer. If you recall that incident. Remember President Kufuor, when he took over, one of the people that were prosecuted, was Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Carried them. If you recall, President Rawlings was always up in arms, against with President Kufuor. And today, all those things have gone out, right? And seeing them gather together to mourn Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings is a reminder of where we have come as a country. But for the young generation to appreciate where we have come as a country, particularly those who are always clamoring for military intervention, we need to always highlight our history. And the history will teach us very useful lessons, right? That where we find ourselves might not be all glorious, might not be all honey, lovey-dovey, but it is certainly better than where we have come from.
I see.
And so yesterday was very symbolic. And I think it was symbolic also because when I saw President Kufuor speak, I had goosebumps. And we need to celebrate President Kufuor, particularly whilst he's also alive, because the turnaround came with his leadership from 2001, when he set up the National Reconciliation Commission. I think it was from there on that the foundation set by him was built upon. And so today we are where we are because of the contribution of people like him, particularly the leadership he provided at the time. And so let's celebrate President Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings for the magnificent work that she did Jesus Christ lived for 33 years, right? But more books have been written about him than any other person. And so let's celebrate Nana Konnadu's achievements. Let's celebrate President Kufuor whilst he's alive. Let's celebrate President Akufo-Addo. He might not have been the best, but he also built something, played a role, right? Everybody will play a role. Today, we have forgotten what perhaps happened with Nana Konadu, perhaps happened with Agyeman-Rawlings, President Agyeman-Rawlings. And we are looking at the good side. Let's begin to look at the good sides of all these people whilst they are alive. And the future will be bright. Thank you very much.
I see. Andrew, I hadn't seen any first lady. Of course, Sani Hosi is in the studio now. I hadn't seen any first lady. I don't know about you.
You have to tell everybody I'm late.
No,
I'll make time for you today.
No, not really. No, not really. I hadn't seen any other first lady. I mean, so the one I saw, and I'm sure it holds true for almost everybody around the table, was Nana Agyeman-Rawlings. How pivotal was her role in redefining the office of the first lady? You know, she was all over the place on GTV almost every single day. She was in the news doing one thing or the other.
Well, GBC.
Sorry, GBC. You know. So I mean, how pivotal was her role in defining that, you know, office and all the things we've come to see afterwards?
Yeah, so let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning.
And I take note that you're a Liverpool.
Yeah, I think it's
a revival move.
Oh, what was there to revive? We are champions of England.
No problem.
Yeah, I was a privilege to share this platform with my learners here. As in, Baf was always very nice to me when I joined the bar. I hope he remembers. As in, always encouraged the young ones when we came in. I always hold him in high esteem. Yeah, pleasure. And I've met my long lost Akunta. Yeah, so Senor,
he was at my wedding.
Oh, I see.
Nice. Wife is like a sister to me. So I consider him Anakunta.
He didn't come the last one.
Yeah.
You see, I've been really right.
You appear to have a lot of Akuntas because John Daku too.
Yeah, John Daku is my Akunta. John Daku is my Akunta. Yeah, I've played Akunta.
Are you a polygamous man or something?
My father was proudly polygamous. So,
should we take inspiration from him?
I think we should.
You sleep on the couch today.
Yeah, so I stand on all fours with what my learning senior here said. I think the best word I can use to describe Nana Konnadu's contribution to the development of this country is to use the word a pioneer. Because if there's one thing that our country has never lacked, and rightly my senior made reference to Ya Asantewaa, what we've never lacked are great women. So you can mention Ya Asantewaa, you can mention Susan Ufoyata, the second medical doctor produced in West Africa. You can mention Annie Jage, the first judge in the whole of the High Court judge in the whole of the Commonwealth. And for us to consider Nana Konadu as a pioneer, as it tells you the extent of impact on this country. You know, I grew up in the 80s. I'm an 80s. I'm sure we are all, apart from probably my senior, we are all 80s boys. Because my first experience of Ghana was in the 80s, and during that time, days of Agyeman-Rawlings and Nana Konadu, to think that she would use the power she had, because she was very powerful. To use the power she had to...
Or she became powerful because she knew the power that was there in that role. You don't know how the other first ladies
she was a politician, unlike all the other first ladies. We need to understand that. She was African Hall President. I think she was Vice President in the... SRC General Secretary. Okay. So she was an activist, you understand. But to think that she will use her appreciation and standing of power, of political power, to change the course of how women were seen and to empower women, for me, is remarkable. And I think we have not celebrated her enough, as in we've allowed partisanship to more or less blind our honest, what's called, appreciation of a person like Nana Konadu. Yesterday, former President Kufuor said that her name will be written in granite. I want to add gold. her name will be written in gold when the story of Ghana was being told, as is being told. As I mentioned, the interstate succession law, we as in 1992 constitution is seen with a lot of affirmative action clauses in them, and we would not have had these. We would not have seen the empowerment of women. We would not have seen the words of Agri come to life. You know, Agri said, if you a woman, you actually educate a whole nation. You understand? To think that Konadu herself being an Accra is an embodiment and a clear example of the words of Agri. So I think there's an opportunity for all of us to come together as a nation. We have to celebrate her. We are mourning, but we have to celebrate it. And I think all the wonderful women that our country has produced, all the great women, the fact that we have a first vice president, the fact that very soon we may have a first female president of this land, are all lay credence to the works of Nana Konadu. And as much as we mourn her, I think that this period for me should be an opportunity for all of us to celebrate her, and for all of us to use the opportunity to come together as a nation and do our politics well. I think I want to add this, that my brother here is talking about boldness, and I think you need boldness to do your politics.
I think she when she formed her party, one of the slogans or motto was bold, be bold. Yeah.
So you may disagree with her, but I respect her strength of conviction. The fact that she being a founding member of the NDC, and when she believed, whether she was right, whether she was wrong, she believed that the party was charting the wrong course, had the courage of conviction to come out and challenge the system to the extent of even forming her own party. We need a politics where we have more people who are ready to put the interests of the nation first, even ahead of their party's interests. And I think Nana Konadu represented all of that. So, yes, her soul certainly rest in peace. But the people of Ghana must come together and celebrate this patriot.
Interesting. Senor, taking it from here, her legacy and the formation of her own party when she felt the NDC, which she helped form, was drifting away from maybe the values she considered were being debased, I mean, in the words. Do you think that those things she did, leaving the party, etc., would dent her legacy in terms of the formation of the NDC and all that she did with people? Because ordinarily, you would have expected the NDC to rally around her. Of course, they are doing that, but perhaps the story would have been different if she hadn't left the party, remained the mother of the party, as it were, and this happened. What happens? What do you think the NDC especially will say of her legacy? Of course, as Edunkuti has said, her place in history is cemented, etc. But her last few days or years, do you think what she did in respect of forming a new party, leaving, saying things about the NDC, etc., would dent that legacy or reputation a bit?
Yeah, good morning to viewers and listeners. For starters, which will now be routine of me, I want to call on the government to please tell us where the kingpins are of Galamsey. Maraku, kingpins are, what were they? Galamsey kingpins, no, Omuwahe. Galamsey kingpins, Ingbenye. So I don't think Nana Konadu wants us to have a life without the Galamsey kingpins court. So we have to remind the government every Saturday. I don't have to be here, Salon. You must remind the government that we are still waiting for the kingpins. Kingpins are, what were they? Good morning.
Good morning. I see.
Nana Konadu's place cannot be dented by her move away from the NDC or not. Her impact transcends her party. The millions of women who benefited from her activism, her advocacy, were not painted in party colors. Those who benefit from the interstate succession law, the sanity, normalcy, their lives, their families that have been reshaped by virtue of that particular intervention. You don't go and look for who is NDC or who is NPP. Forget it. It is the last conversation anybody should want to waste time on. This woman did not just follow the path of being a first lady. She carved it. She redefined it. I wasn't privileged to see Fatia Nkrumah, but we all heard the stories from our parents. She was an elegant woman. She was adored, admired, but kept in that place. This woman did not sit. She was one who understood what political power could do, and she used it. She took advantage of her influence and influenced time. Time in a way that perpetuates her relevance in our society and in our national dialogue any day. It has nothing to do with whether she left the party or didn't leave the party. Konadu is not the type that could have stayed in the party because she's not the type that can stay silent. She's not the type that cannot accept being ignored or not being heard. She's not passive. And that's her. You have to accept her for who she is. All right? She's not Teresa Kufuor. She's not Mama Lodina. She's not Nadu Mills. She's not a passive person. So there was no way.
She didn't
when she
recognize...
ideologically also feeling and considering herself a founder of the party, is at variance with the times and the practices and the culture or emerging culture of the time, she will not just keep quiet. And if she can't feel like she is having her impact, she would move. That was her. It was no secret that there was only so much that Jerry could control her over. Let's speak the truth. It was one person that anybody knew could really keep Jerry under wraps or under a big control. Everybody knew it was Nana Konadu. She was a powerful woman, and I agree with you. The next we could, but I mean, she's absolutely the Yaa Asantewaa of our time. And she did not just do it to just exercise power irrationally. She impacted lives. The 2 million women were impacted by that. The girl child story today, that today we can talk about girl child and everybody, it was her. It was not. You see, people have forgotten you. People see Ghana today, they think that this is not Ghana. We have come from far. We have come from women not even being entitled to wear jeans and it being a sin. To today, the things that people wear.
The women use pad.
They use pad. And it was, people did not use, I'm on sin.
And you attribute that to her or to
she was part of it.
To development.
Her advocacy was fierce. Today you come and see always, the best part crowd that was in this country was Vetes. Who uses Vetes? I'm telling you, we have come from far. But it had to take people to stand in the gap and force a transformation in our cultural orientation to put rightly the place of women in our society. And Nana Konadu was there. She did it. She did it. But today, we see a lot of these things as normal and we feel entitled to it. Society didn't give you those entitlements. Your economic place at home was not that fierce and strong. She made that relevance. She made it count. If it wasn't Nana Konadu who knew about Beijing conference, where we started proper feminist activism in this country.
And incidentally, there was a milestone of that conference marked the week before. President Mahama was there, and he made reference to the role Nana Konadu and co played, in the Beijing conference of '95.
She was not a symbol and an advocate just for women in Ghana. Across Africa. She became a symbol, an example of what a first lady could do and could become. Unfortunately, because she is fierce, she is forward and she's very present. That's her. It also rubs negatively. With every force in physics, will tell you there's an opposite and equal reaction. She also got the same reaction. That one, they don't lie you. So you won't find that kind of problem with Teresa Kufuor.
Will you describe her as a controversial figure?
She never shied away from controversy. She actually loves to be in the center of it. That's her. And she does it because she's trying to shape the narrative and how society's part based on her honest conviction.
Whilst we're celebrating her, part of the analysis should also include what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so one of the things people have said was that she failed to transition, with the changing times. So for example, she was no longer in the center, but she always wanted to be in the center. And that was obviously going to be a problem, including comments she made about Professor Musu, who was now the man in the center, etc., etc. You had played your role for about 19 years. Somebody else is in the seat, and all those things. Even Kufuor suffered it. Her failure to transition from the limelight to the place that history had given her at the time.
Look, my brother, it's a matter of choice. But it's easy for us to second guess people any day. You need to be in the heat to really understand and relate to certain things. Just side joke, a friend of mine who complains a bit about these siren things that my brother's political friends
is using it now.
They are using, no, he's a good man.
No, not him, I'm your friend.
If I catch him, I'll deal with him. I'll stop him.
You do the war against
Now, today, the guy had some motorcade taking him. He said, hey, Charlie, president, whatever, I'm telling you, you need to experience power to be able to relate to the challenges of power and the constraints of even trying to get yourself out of power. It's not an easy thing. There's something about responsibility. There's something about a certain orientation where you feel that once you have that power, you can make a certain transformation. When people have it and you don't have the influence in it, it frustrates you, it eats you up. And if you are that passionate about that conviction, it will shape your behavior. But I agree with you. A certain level of higher level emotional intelligence may have helped. But that was her. What I loved about her is that she was never fake. She tells you what she thinks. You don't need to agree with her, but you know where she stands. You understand? But yes, a certain tact may have helped, but it's easy for us to sit here today and second guess. But for somebody who has been at the forefront, fighting for a certain transformation, social transformation, upliftment for people, not just women, but for people, for families, for children. She was a major advocate for children as well. We're talking about women. We forget that she was a major advocate for children, children's rights, children's place. And that's why we talk about that right to education. You see, when you've been there and you've lived a philosophy, there's a certain orientation. You have seen people killed for a certain kind of advocacy and principle that you think you stood for during June 4th, during the 81st revolution, the 31st December revolution, for which reason you even name your whole organization around. And you come and see that the culture and everything is changing, the orientation is changing. It is something you be passionate about, something that will eat you. The dream that you have, you feel it's dying in your face. That's what was happening to the Rawlingses.
I see.
They were struggling with the loss of influence and power. They were struggling with the death, in their opinion, of the ideals of a political movement and orientation that they lived and died for.
Very well.
Salom, if I may, quick.
Okay, so the quick one.
So when you say she was a controversial figure, very respectfully, within the context, I may not be able to disagree with you. Because Nana Konadu emerged 24 years after independence, a country which is set within proper tradition. One of the traditions of this country was women being, like he said, consigned to the background.
Very passive.
In fact, hardly would even in a matrimonial home would you have the woman come to sit in a meeting or a discussion between her husband and
others.
But here was a woman who was ready to lead side by side with her husband.
Yes. We'll make her come across.
Of course. So clearly, within the context of the time, Nana Konadu was a controversial figure. But on hindsight, it was a pivotal role that has given us results. Transformed women education, transformed women empowerment, transformed child education, and so on and so forth. And so within the context of the time, yes, but the results, very respectfully. Please.
Will you say same of her last few years? I mean, falling out with her own political party, etc. Would that controversy be pivotal to anything, and if anything at all, to what?
Like we say,
that was politically suicidal.
No. It's you see,
or not strategic.
It's who she is or who she was that put her where she ended, and it was unavoidable. In literature,
it was unavoidable that she could not see herself moving on, that no, the spotlight was no more on me. So let me take a rather dignified role of a mother of a party. So, I mean, I'll have that recognition. Going to stand against a party's candidate, sitting president, all of that, the Fonka games and all of those, people think, chipped away a bit of the glory and the reverence she commanded within the party.
If you look at who she was, I have always believed that all of us, one way or the other, God has put in us some things that would cause our rise, and those things will equally cause the end of our era. And I think that was who she was. I mean, that's how God made her. And so she played her role. It came to an end when her maker wanted that role to come to an end. And so I would not sit here and judge her. Perhaps history and academics will look at it, analyze it, and take a different view like you want. But I think that she was just made for her time. And she ended where she had to end.
And she lived it.
And she lived it.
The final one on this. Her children, I mean, of course, Senator is an MP. You think her children should be more involved in national affairs? Of course, Nkrumah's children came in very late. We saw Samia, but the party was not really anything you could galvanize and revamp. The NDC is in power. NDC is a formidable force today, just like the NPP, the two parties, and UP coming, and all of that. You think the children should be more interested in politics to further the job their parents did?
No, we shouldn't force them. We should let them be. Whatever role they want to play in Ghana, they should be allowed to play.
If you want to be private citizens,
yes, because you see, we all have our choices. Today, you are a lawyer. Some of your children may want to be lawyers, some may not want to be, right? Great footballers have not always had great footballers as children. And so we should let them be. Except that those that have taken interest, like Dr. Ezenato, I expect the leaders of the party to remember the role their father played in making them who they are today, and to also assist them, right? For instance, when President Mahama constituted his government, I was surprised not to have seen Ezenato there. I was surprised not to have seen Professor Mills's brother in there. You see, sometimes it's a sign of appreciation.
Not competence.
No, I mean these persons.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You are not just saying.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
How many people? How many of President Mohammed's ministers? Very respectfully, I respect all of them. Right? How many of them are more competent than Dr. Zenato? In terms of exposure, in terms of experience, right? How many of them? And so when she's not in President Mohammed's government, you would be asking questions. Some of us think that, look, it will be a sign of appreciation for President Mohammed to even make a conscious effort to impact someone like Ezenato. It will be a sign of appreciation for President Mohammed to impact someone like Dr. Atta Mills. And so those that want to be politicians, the people within NDC who were mentored and made by President Agyeman-Rawlings and Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings should extend the same grace to them.
I see.
That goes
just a
without
quick
saying.
one.
That absolutely goes without saying. I'm not too related by what we see, but there may be other things that we don't know. So that's the only reason why we sort of give the government the benefit of the doubt. The Rawlingses are a very defining feature of the entire NDC culture, the NDC tradition, its formation, and all. We can't just wish it as though it never was. As a country, yes, we must celebrate the family for what it's achieved. Some also find the family disruptive. That's understandable. But however it is, they sat on those seats. The family sacrificed something for this country. And there are very good things to look at, including the current stability we find under our Fourth Republic. I think we should give some credit in there.
Great.
So I agree with him. I agree with Bafo that it's quite concerning when you look. You see the absence of the likes of Cadman Mills. You look at the absence of the likes of Senator in the executive. It is a big concern. But I'm very excited about Senator. She always showed that as a child. We always used to watch her when she was trying to fly a plane and all that.
Yeah, and Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence, all those. It was beautiful, even though we also acknowledge that it was excessive privilege. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest with it, you know. Yeah. It was excessive privilege. It was excessive privilege. But she's still stepped up. She didn't just get lost. She went to Achimota, I guess. Primary. Wesley Girls. Unfortunately, we didn't see her in our university. It was one of my disappointments with Rawlings. Because you can't be running an educational system and taking your children outside. What are you telling us here? You understand? But
our presidents, I mean, haven't done that.
These are the questions that you have to start putting before our people. Yeah. The politicians who sit there and create the free SHS, they create the double track, the 3 years this year, next time 4 years, every day, depending on which color is sitting there, your years will change. Do their children go there? Go to cabinet and look for all the people on cabinet now. And look at those who are on cabinet in the previous, and go and look for where their children go to school. They go to the GISs, they go to the EAIS, the SOS, the RAGE, and all that. Then they'll be the ones sitting there making policy for other people. When they themselves, they don't suffer it. They
don't believe in the policy.
If you don't suffer with the people, you cannot connect and solve their problem properly. You understand? Exactly. This is a problem. That's one of the bad. That's a side matter. But she's stepping up to hold a gap for the family is something that I think we should commend and encourage. And I actually look forward to her following after her mom. And one day running for president.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, your final thoughts on this one. I mean, the children and all of that.
Also, I think I agree with them. Exata was actually my senior in Atota primary school, and Yasota was my mate. Exata was a natural leader. I think she still exhibits that natural.
Just a mate.
No, just a mate. No, I think when that haircut came, she was in Wesley Girls, I think.
No.
She wasn't.
She was a mature person. She was a grown up.
The haircut came around 90 something, 99.
Because you were last week at Santo, just in case you.
No, I didn't try anything. I didn't try anything. Yeah, but I've not believed in things being handed over. This is a republic, it's not a monarch. I think the president ought to have the space to choose his own cabinet. So for me, I don't stand with the view that only because she's a daughter of Rawlings. But having said that, I think her competence isn't in doubt, her leadership skill isn't in doubt, and I think that Ghanaians recognize that. I think the party itself will recognize that, and in due course, I won't be surprised at all if she puts herself up for presidency. But I don't think we should put any pressure on His Excellency Jomama to appoint her only because she's the daughter of J.J. Rawlings.
I see. Great. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll get into the other matters of the AG and the OSP, Ken extradition, etc. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM on ChannelOne television. We're live and interactive, 020-444-7033. That is displayed on your screen as well. I'll be happy to read your messages when